guys, it's Wolf. Was able to make it here on time, had to run out of the subway exit all the way down here to the studio in Gangnam. But I'm here, I made it on time, and we've got first up here YugiOh versus Keen. After that we're going to have Brown versus Ryung. That's going to be followed up by Clyde, someone who recently moved over to the Slayers team, against Parting, who was once a member of FOU but now is a member of Startail. And finally, we're going to be closing things out with Tassadar versus Cezanne. So a lot of awesome matches today. We've got a Protoss in every single lineup except our first one. And I'm really excited about these matches. We've got a lot of cool players, like, for example, Brown. He's in here, you know, he didn't really play very well last time he played in the GSL, but this time he's doing a lot better, and he's able to advance here to the round of 32, so I'm impressed by that. He's going to be playing against his teammate Ryung, and Ryung, I think, definitely has the potential to be in Code S, so this guy is going to have to battle out his teammate. You know, only one can advance, so that's kind of a sad story. Team kills are always unfortunate. And YugiOh versus Keen. YugiOh has never actually made it very far in his career, and I'm kind of curious to see what he's going to be able to do here against Keen. Keen's a player who has played fairly inconsistently in the GSL. He does well sometimes, other times does not do very well. I'm kind of curious to see how he's going to do against YugiOh. This is going to be one of our lesser matches, I guess, for today, but I think Keen will probably take it. He's probably the favorite here. We'll see if he plays up to par or if he kind of has a flop day like some of the other days we've seen him do. So our game is pretty much ready here. The players seem to be set up and ready to go. Should be starting very soon. Our first map is going to be Daybreak, and the following map will be Belcher Beach, and after that we'll have Tal'Darim Altar if that ends up being necessary. This is a TVZ, guys. For those of you guys who don't know, YugiOh is a Zerg player. Keen is our Terran. The countdown has started. Get ready, get excited, because we're about to jump into game number 1. Alright, up here at the top right, a member of the team MVP, a former Code S player, sometimes inconsistent. He is MVP Keen. Down here at the bottom left, a member of the team Slayers. This guy's been around for a long time, never really able to make it very far in the GSL, but he's always been around. He is Slayers YugiOh. When asked why he chose the ID YugiOh, he said, "I don't really know." He actually did not play the card game, nor did he watch the anime series or read any manga about YugiOh. He actually just chose the name. Similar to how Nestea doesn't particularly care that much for Nestea, he just chose the name because there's a Nestea bottle on his desk, or can perhaps. It's kind of the way IDs go. Sometimes some people choose to use their names as their IDs. It's quite common in Korea. And in the foreign scene, actually, you've got people like Tyler using his main name. You've got people like Wolf using his main name as his ID as well. Well, by the looks of things, Keen is going to be going for a standard barracks timing here. So I've got my... I'm going to have to change some settings after this. Can't scroll with my mouse at all, which is actually the better way to observe. I'm just not used to it, using the arrow keys. There we go, that actually looks quite nice. Well, Keen actually knows he sent his SCV back. He's going to be going for a command center first here, and meanwhile, we do have YugiOh going for that early hatchery first. I'm going to scout around really quick just to make sure. Sending a second drone now to make that hatchery. And Keen going to make his command center at his wall off here, rather than making it on the low ground. You know, making this command center up here is a little bit safer. If your opponent's 6 pools, for example, you have kind of an earlier wall. For not even necessarily a 6 pool, just an early pool in general, you can wall this off, you can be completely safe. But on a map like this, the rush distance is quite far, and you can expect your opponent to go hatchery first, so I almost think it's a bit of a... It's too cautious for Keen to really make this on the high ground, in my opinion, but he's going to do it just to be safe. The problem is the drone's always going to get here and harass us. What this SCV is for, just to chase that drone off. The SCV that was going in to scout has already arrived in the main base here. He's going to pop around, see what's going on, sees the hatch first, sees the gas going down as well as the pool. He knows no crazy shenanigans are going on. And honestly, what he's going to see with this is that he's going to regret building his command center up here as part of his wall off. Drone headed home, not much else he can do over there. Can't really deny this expansion, and he already you know, put a little bit of pressure on, but he was chased away immediately, so nothing more for that drone to do now. I'm really excited to see how this game is going to play out into the later stages. This is an awesome map. It's a new map that the GSL has put in. It's not that new anymore, to be honest, but it's a fairly newer map, and I really like how the center of the map kind of plays out. We'll talk a little bit about it. There's destructible rocks here in the middle of the map, or destructible debris, I should say. Around these watchtowers, there's the right watchtower, here's the left one. So this area of the map is very important to control once these rocks are gone, especially in this matchup. But there are a lot of bases that are far away on the edges, like here and here, for example. So this is the reason why I really like this map. It's easy to hide bases for Zerg, put these bases over here, but it's not out of the realm of possibility of a Terran dropping and harassing those. Now back in Keen's base, he's actually started a factory. He took his gases quite early, actually just taking one here. His orbital's finishing up now. He's dropping double mules. And he's actually in a great position to just safely take this expansion. Is he making a reactor? Yes, indeed, making a reactor on that barracks. He's going to actually use that for his factory to get reactor Hellions out. It's going to allow him to put a little bit of pressure on, control the watchtowers, and hold his command center quite easily. So things looking pretty good right now for Keen. YugiOh, on the other hand, is starting to drone up this expansion. His Zergling speed is a third of the way done, but I like this. He's taking a very fast third base. This is a great map to do this on, especially considering that he's seen everything that's going on. He even sees a bunker going up here, so he knows that Keen is not making a lot of units. He's not following this up with 4 barracks pressure or anything like that. He wasn't able to see the factory, but just seeing this bunker alone is enough to kind of hint at, okay, it's not going to be 4 barracks following this up, because if it were 4 barracks, he wouldn't necessarily need the bunker this early. So I like that. It's a safe choice by YugiOh to go ahead, get this hatchery up. He's sending these Zerglings around to patrol to make sure it's not going to get bunkered, checking for anything coming his way. No spines going up just yet for YugiOh, which may be a little bit of an overstep to be that hazardous, or haphazard, I should say. Because when these Hellions get there, he's going to have to deal with those, and with just Zerglings and no real wall-off, no spines just yet, it's going to be quite difficult to deal with that. He is putting a Baneling Dust down here next to this ramp, so it's going to allow him to kind of wall off, but with no spines and only a few Queens out, it's not going to be easy. Quite a few Zerglings out for YugiOh right now, and with that Baneling Nest coming out, he may want to put on some aggression. Probably not, but it's always a good defensive measure to have that Baneling Nest, and he can be aggressive with it if he chooses to. Keen moving around with some of his Hellions now, checking all the locations where Zerglings may be hiding to do that particular Baneling bust. He's going to catch this Zergling. And these first 2 Hellions are actually going to come up here, take this watchtower. He's going to have to be careful with how he controls these, though. Zerglings trying to surround them. And nice control by Keen coming behind the mineral line. The Zerglings doing their best to surround, and they do actually get a surround. Not the best micro there at the end by Keen, not actually controlling those. And these Hellions now going to get spotted by Zerglings as well. And YugiOh not losing a lot here, losing just a few Zerglings, but delaying these Hellions. He's actually making 2 spine crawlers now, one here, and most likely one, yes, here at his third base. So that Zergling presence in the middle of the map really allowed him to delay these Hellions, but Keen has a few more, and YugiOh is going to have to be very careful with the Zerglings he has on the map. Doesn't want to lose too many of them. It's okay to lose a few as you're delaying these Hellions, but he does not want to lose a lot. 6 Banelings on the way for YugiOh right now. The spine finishing just in time, but with only 1 spine here and only 1 queen, he can run behind and hit these drones if he chooses to. Does decide to go home, however. With these Hellions, he's actually going to corner some of these Zerglings. 4 Hellions over here, 2 to chase the Zerglings, and gets the majority of those Zerglings. These Banelings actually positioned here on this wide ramp, so if any Hellions try to run by, they're going to regret that. This spine crawler inching closer and closer up here to this ramp. It's rooting right now. The Hellions may try to sneak by. No, picks off a Zergling and backs out of there. Still no third base yet for Keen. He's making it right now, but it's not yet finished. It's not even close to being put down on that third base. Double engineering base going up right now. A spine crawler canceled here as Zerglings stay on the ramp, preventing those Hellions from sneaking into the natural. So really nice positioning by YugiOh with all of his units. He's always delaying these Hellions as best as he can. They're trying to get in here, as you can see. Still just those 6 initial Banelings. There's a spine here. Creep getting ever so close to that ramp. It's going to really help him out. And a little bit of marine pressure coming out here from Keen, wanting to put on some pressure to accompany these Hellions. Command center finishing up nicely here. Siege mode and siege tanks on the way right now as well. So nice transitioning by Keen. As you can see, is actually up 12 supply. 90 supply to 78 here. YugiOh getting that Spire. It's a little bit late though. This is a really nice timing for Keen to move out with these Marines. He's going to move out with the Marines on the right side here. And if all of the units of YugiOh go up to the top, he's going to send these Hellions into the natural. And he does have quite a large number of them. Overseer going to come by, wants to spot these Hellions. He's going to take out this Creep Tumor. That's really useful. delaying that creep spread, does not want that to go down the ramp. And seeing that many Banelings and Zerglings, does decide to send these Marines back. This Changeling sees everything. Really nice Changeling positioning there by YugiOh. He's doing a great job of just spotting everything on the map. 2 tanks moving out with a lot more Marines. In total, we have 24 Marines on the map. That Spire is finishing up here. He's going to start Mutalisk production as soon as that's done. As you guys can see, he saved up about 1,100 gas right now. Going to make about 11 or 12 mutas as soon as that pops. Look at that. Boom, pops. 8 mutas immediately. Baneling speed plus 1 carapace finishing as well. It makes 8 mutas and 15 Banelings. He's going to need those Banelings to hold this attack. But really nice larva management there, getting just the right amount of both units. But even so, it's going to be very difficult to hold this push. 1 tank going around the wrong side, but may end up helping. Whoa, huge Baneling hits there. But Baneling's hitting a tank. That's not what you want to have happen if you're YugiOh in this case. I like the tank positioning here. At first I thought it was a mistake. I thought it was bad pathing going around the side there, but made the tank so it could not really be surrounded by those Zerglings. But Keen has to go home. His 1-1 upgrades are about to finish. Right now the ground upgrades for YugiOh are plus 1 carapace, no attack upgrades. So the upgrade going to be better here for Keen. Remember, these mutas do not have upgrades either. He's going to have to be very careful with how he engages this. A lot more Marines back here. No medevacs out just yet though. Killing a lot of these Zerglings. Right now, YugiOh taking this base up here at the top left. He's got creep already headed in that direction. So I like that, taking that base right now. He's pushed the Marines back. He's kind of got Keen on defensive. He's forced them to stim a few times. Reactor just now finishing here on this starport. So he's going to start medevacs. He's not going to have a lot of them. And in fact, his Marines still fairly low in health. You can see here, they've got that Skittles bag of Marines there with all the different colors. Ultralist wants to taste the rainbow and eat that. Right now, it's a terrible joke. Right now, he's Mutalisk running over here, or flying I should say, to assault this third base. It's not a planetary, but Keen making a bunker here. He's already got a 3rd missile turret about to pop. And making this extra bunker is something Terrans have started to do at their 3rd base location. It wasn't something people did for a while, but people found, you know, if I just have a bunker here, that buys enough time for me to bring the rest of my army. These mutas flying dangerously close to these turrets, and actually just flying close to them and doing nothing else, taking a lot of damage. 1 muta goes down, 2 more very low on hit points. The medevacs are out, starting to kill these Marines. SCV wants to scout the army. Does get to see just that. 4th base finished for YugiOh up here at the top left. Looks like he wants to just continue the attack though. I don't like this 3 base against 4 base, just continue to attack like this with worse upgrades. Not a good idea. He's got infestors on the way, does not need to attack right now. Now he's going to go ahead and go home. The smart choice here. Not getting any Mutalisk upgrades right now. The Spire completely, just hanging out here, just not getting any upgrades whatsoever. His burrow is about to finish though. Pathogen glands upgrade almost finished. 14 drones on the way as well as a hive. Probably going to see some Broodlords, I would expect, as soon as that hive finishes, because he's got this base up here. He's getting those gases there now. Adding some spines in just to deter drops. Some Marines stimming forward here just to make sure there's no trap set. Nice scan there to make sure there's no Baneling landmines, as you guys have seen recently. Baneling landmines becoming quite popular. And here they are now. He's actually might run right on top of these. A good Terran would scan here. Oh, losing several Marines there. Stims all of his Marines as well in panic. That's not useful. No engagement while the Marines are stemmed, so a lot of his Marines on low health. He's going to have to stem again if YugiOh wants him to. Takes the tower here. Going to maybe take out some tanks. No, but forces yet another stem. Nice positioning with Yu-Gi-Oh's units here, but he just has too much. Right now it's 193 supply to 178. Gonna catch all of these infestors, but a sick fungal hits most of these Marines. One more fungal! Oh, killing a ton of Marines there, so two really nice things for Yu-Gi-Oh! Getting that first group of Marines with the Baneling landmine, then getting the second with those infestors. Imagine, though, if he had not lost that huge group of infestors, but instead just killed the Marines for free. Yu is getting dangerously close, though, to Keen's army. Greater Spire is about 3/4 of the way done. 4 more infestors on the way right now, as Keen continues to regain map control here, destroying these rocks. Thor on the way to join up with this army to help deal with that Mutalisk count, so the Mutas can't pick off tanks without really any retribution. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is constantly trying to position his army for a flank here, but the problem is Keen's army is just so much better. It's got better upgrades. He's totally ready for it. He's got that big undefeatable ball right now. Siege tank staggering forward here. He's going to take this watchtower. That's very important. That's going to allow him to start cleaning up this creep. Meanwhile, on the bottom right side of the map, YugiOh still trying to prepare for that flank, or perhaps a counterattack. He's going to be able to deny this command center quite easily. In fact, he may even be able to take it out. The army of Keen rushing back home. And he looks like he does have just enough Marines here. Will he split them? Barely splitting those Marines away in time to take care of those Banelings. And man, is YugiOh in trouble now. Losing a lot of units, not even taking out the command center. Right now, he's about 40 supply down, and it is not looking good for his chances to hold this push. 6 Corruptors on the way to help become Broodlords. There's also an Ultralisk Cavern on the way, but he's not going to be able to afford all of those units. Look at his minerals right now. He's got almost 3,000, but only 500 gas in the bank. That means he's going to have to make a tough choice here. How many Broodlords will he make? Some Infestors here, but nice keeping the mech units in front, splitting his Marines here, scanning, taking out those tumors. He's going to send his Marines up here to take out this base. There's really no answer for this. He can't send his Infestors to deal with the Marines. There's too many siege tanks here. And his Mutalisk actually not going to go for the tanks either. He's going to go for a major counterattack here. This hatchery completely devastated. And the drones do fall. Meanwhile, the command center chased away, does take care of this command center. Finally, will completely take it out, but Keen does not care. He's not turning around. He's going to continue the attack. His Marines right now with 3-3 on the way, +2 melee weapons, and +2 Carapace right now on the way for our Zerg player, but it's already 2-2 for Keen. Stimming his Marines running in here, taking out these spines, a huge siege up, and it looks like YugiOh is going to come home, but will he be home in time? The Broodlords are out, but there's so many Marines here, there's not a huge buff for these Infestors trying to do the best fungals they can. The Marines may be getting a little ahead of themselves here. Does take out the hatchery, but these tanks are now kind of trapped. Nice fungal here, the Broodlords doing a ton of damage, and Keen going to lose the majority of his army, but has taken out 2 hatcheries. Targeting down some of these Infestors, not the best control there by YugiOh. And Keen does lose the last of his tanks, even losing some medevacs here while they're on the retreat. YugiOh actually taking a supply lead as he remakes his 3rd base. As you can see, his creeps still continuing to spread up here at the top. Even though he lost a significant portion of his creep, he still has a few tumors left. Continuing that creep spread is really important. Keen, 2 command centers on the way. He's going to make those into orbitals promptly. He's going to have those extra mules when he lands his command center here. Wants to take this bottom right base, but YugiOh smartly has denied that with an Overlord. Drone's now going to start long distance mining up here at this top left base. As you can see, he's just way oversaturated. Starting to run out of minerals here at his natural. He's completely mined out in his main base, so this is kind of the situation that YugiOh finds himself in. But he still has these Broodlords out. He's going to have to take the center of the map here. He does have a lot of time buying ability with these Broodlords. He's going to have to be very careful with them. He does not want to attack right now. He wants to use these mutas as best as he can to take control of the map, to keep Keen off his back for a little bit longer, to get these bases up. He can get this hatchery, and this hatchery back up. He will actually be able to regain economic stability and try to fight through to the end. Right now, he's getting that chitinous plating upgrade for his Ultras, +3 Carapace and +3 melee attacks on the way. So he's forced the Vikings now. He's going to switch into Ultras with good upgrades. I really like that. You know, back at his Spire, he actually just got +1. That's it. He doesn't really committed to those air upgrades because he knows his opponent's going to be making Vikings now, and he just wants to have those upgrades for his Ultras. Looks like that Overlord was taken out, but there are some Infestors coming over here to be sneaky and do terrible things to Keen. Probably going to wait and then fungal the SCVs when the command center gets there. He may even deny the command center with those. I don't think that would be the smartest choice. Taking out a few tumors here with his main army, not stimming. I like that. Just stimming a few units to make sure there's nothing ahead. And more spines going down up here for YugiOh at the top left. He has taken the center base as well. So his economy is going to start to catch up quite quickly here. In fact, it's about only 700 minerals per minute down right now, but that's with drones transferring. We're going to see a sick mule drop here. Those 6 mules drop. Over here, we're going to see some more mules. I like this, making this particular base into a planetary, adding some turrets. Vikings get fungled here. A lot of Marines do as well. Will he be able to get the second fungal off? It looks like no. EMP hitting a few Marines there. Not the best EMP I've ever seen. The Broodlords remain alive, at least for now. But so do the Vikings. Pulls back. A lot of Banelings being lost here. This is a terrible position for YugiOh. He's going to lose a ton of his Broodlords now. His Banelings just kind of sitting here, not doing a whole lot. This is a bad place for YugiOh. Not a lot of units to support those Broodlords. And the Broodlords taking several hits from these Vikings. A few Ultras starting to pop out. 6 more on the way. The Vikings have been chased back now for YugiOh. Or by YugiOh, rather. More Marines and Medivacs rallying in here. Does have +1 for his siege tanks, but look at that. About to have +5 5 armor for the Ultralisk and +3 melee attacks as well. Those tanks are not going to last long when the Ultralisk get to him, especially if he fights them on creep. He's going to have to back up here. And now YugiOh, like I said, once he has these 3 bases up, he's regained economic stability. He's got the ability to make tons of Ultras and Infestors. More Ghosts being made right now. 4Keen is also starting to add some Marauders into the mix to help deal with that Ultralisk composition, but it is not looking good for Keen's map control right now. He's kind of stuck back here at these planetaries. This planetary here, this planetary here. He's kind of stuck back here. Can't do a whole lot. Going to take out these Infestors, which did manage to annoy him, but not kill very many units. In total, with workers killed, you see Keen actually way in the lead, 23-12. But even so, for how long this game has gone on, 25 minutes, that's not a ton of kills. Right now, Keen looking like he wants to move out just yet, but there's so many Broodlords here. I like this patrol here on the Broodlords, being able to kind of control this area. It helped him deal with this drop as well. There's already a cleaning position, and this drop not going to do a whole lot, especially with about 6 Ultras ready to greet it. In fact, just the Queen herself will be enough, but here's a huge attack in the middle of the map. A lot of spines to help defend this. Nice transfuses on the Broodlords. He's trying to keep those alive as long as possible. A nice fungal, though, hits all of these Vikings, but an EMP hits the Infestors, and he's going to need that energy to deal with these Marines. Ultras are good against Marines, but with this many upgrades on the Marines can still do quite decently. He's going to take out this Baneling Nest, actually. That's quite huge. 5 more Ultras on the way, but this base is pretty much toast. There's a very back-and-forth game right now. Looks like YugiOh going to send some Ultralists over here to do some harassment at this base. Meanwhile, Keen's tank's a little bit separated at this point, sending only Marines up here. There's several Spine Crawlers, in fact, 5 in total, a few of them being taken out immediately. Is he going to have any units to deal with this? It looks like no. It's going to be targeted down, and YugiOh going to lose his base yet again. The Ultras taking out the Planetary. Did not really take out many of these siege tanks, however. Pretty efficient trade, though, for YugiOh. The problem is Keen can instantly remake this base, whereas YugiOh cannot remake this base. There's Marines on top of it. He's trying to remake this base, but on his way out, Keen should kill the base. These units heavily stimmed here. Not a lot of hit points. Whoa, taking out a ton of drones here. Vikings taking out these drones as well, and this may be checkmate for YugiOh. He might clean up this army with these Ultras, but he's lost so many drones. He's going to maybe lose this hatchery, and YugiOh actually should be lifting these Vikings, not really getting a whole lot out of them. Right now, the worker count is 62 SCVs to 25 drones. Not the best position to be in if you're YugiOh. He's going to try to send these Infestors up and kill SCVs later at this particular base, but no one's really mining there right now. Look at this sick Ultralisk force. Full upgrades on these Ultras, but the problem is Marines just fire so quickly. Ultralists are not ideal against Marines, especially when there are a few Marauders in the mix with Medivac healing as well. It looks like this is going to be the end of the last force for YugiOh. Takes out the last Ultras, +2 air weapons on the way. That's not going to be good when you don't have any air units on the way. A few more Infestors out here to help hold off this final attack from Keen, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Vikings hanging in the balance here, not really participating very much. They may end up landing. The last Ultralisk falls, and these Infestors with a little bit of energy left, trying to do what they can, but the reinforcements, the rally for Keen is ridiculous. This one Thor is going to be so golden because Infestors just cannot kill Thors. These SCVs not really going to last very long. Does take out the majority of those with some fungals. Zergling's doing what they can, but I just don't see YugiOh holding on much longer. Doesn't want to use fungals on just 2 Marines, but the Marines starting to damage these Infestors quite heavily. Marauders coming out here as well. SCV running into the fray. That Thor, like I said, going to be quite useful. No more harassment on the map for YugiOh, and I have to say, I think this is going to be the end. The spawning pool here falling. GG! Keen takes game 1.